The biggest mistake prisoners make upon arriving in prison for the first time. Now, this video, like the last one, is going to be uploaded without any edits, and a few people have asked for this video. When I've been asked, or someone has asked in the comments a few times, saying, can you make a video on the biggest mistakes prisoners make on their first time in prison? So as the majority who watch this channel have never been to prison, to find it for educational purposes, the ones that have been to prison still do watch this as well, but this is primarily for people who have not been to prison. So the biggest mistake prisoners can make on their first time inside of prison is getting involved with, begins with D, drugs. I'm not saying the full term because YouTube flags it up when you use that term. I'll just say narcotics actually. So getting involved in narcotics, which is so easy inside a prison. A lot of people who have never touched narcotics before, actually when they get put inside a prison, become addicted to them, form a habit inside of prison, believe it or not. Because even though the vast majority of people have got this perception or have got this image of who a prisoner is or what prisoners are, there's people from all walks of life end up inside of prison, and these are the ones that make the fatal and the bad mistakes at first, because they've never been around criminals. Some of them are just law-abiding citizens that have just, things have just turned out bad. It can't be anything to do with, or it comes under a wide range of different things. Fraud, a traffic accident that has purely been an accident, but they have been at fault, where either someone has lost their life or it's been very catastrophic injuries on someone, and they've ended up inside of prison. So these people are put in this scenario. For instance, they've ended up inside a prison, they've got a padmate who is a prolific user on the spizzle, the paper stuff, because that's what it is these days inside a jail. It used to be the proper stuff, what they used to import from China back in the day, believe it or not, when all these legal eyes were kicking around, and the spice then got made into paper form, and that's what they get inside a prison mostly these days. So we'll say this prisoner is padded up with a prolific spizzle user, and he's trying to get this padmate on it. It's his first time inside, doesn't know the dynamics of prison. The padmate saying, come on, try some. More times than not, he's getting him to try it so that he can fund his habit. Because if he's got a little bit, like I've just said, he's a prolific user, and these spice heads are proper grafters. They'll wake up in the morning with no means of getting it, and they will graft their horses off all through the day, hustling on the wing to try and get themselves a little bit of paper so they can have it on a night when they get banged up. It used to be the subbies, not so much now, but them as well. They will graft their horses off to get something inside a jail. So imagine they've got a brand new padmate, doesn't know about prison, they'll try and get them on it. Or they'll ask them little bits of questions, fucking fishing, and then they'll say, oh yes, I had a good job, I had a bit of money outside or whatever. Then this padmate, his brain cells, his mind is flicking. He's thinking, right, he's got a bit of money, if I get him on this spizzle, then he can fund it and we can share it. I can share his stuff because I'll go and get it for him. So that is the first mistake prisoners make on their first arrival inside a jail, getting involved in narcotics. Because as soon as they're involved in that, they start getting debted up, they'll start pushing it on them, then they'll get a habit, and then they'll need it. They'll become dependent on them. And the person who either give them it, or the person who is wanting something from it, is funding it or getting whatever they can out of it. Because as you can imagine, prison is full of people just trying to get whatever they can. Same in all walks of life. If there's hustle to be made, people are going to jump on it. So the first mistake someone makes is getting involved in that. Now the second biggest mistake I will talk about, not in any particular order, but these are just the ones that are popping out to us, is becoming a victim of bullies. Now what I mean by that is if you don't stand up for yourself, because prison, as you can imagine, is rife with people who want to take liberties. So if you're a newbie inside a jail, first time in, don't know the dynamics or anything, someone comes up, start asking you for things, starts intimidating you. They'll start picking and prodding just to see how you react. If you just stand there and take it, shitting yourself, not knowing what to do, then they're going to come at you from more angles. And if you don't do anything to stop it, then you're going to become a victim. And imagine you're padded up with someone who is like this. You've got to remember, a lot of these people that are inside a jail are in for deceiving people. They're in for robberies, robbing old grannies, robbing houses, burgling houses, snatching handbags on the street. So imagine you're padded up with one of these. They look at you, and then they start picking away at you. You don't stand up for yourself, then they're loving it, because these type of bullies are proper wrong'uns. They love getting off on people who they know they've got a bit of power over. So if you don't stand up to them, and imagine being padded up with this, you're banged up 23 hours a day. This other padmate's not sticking up for you, standing up for yourself. This other predator who's in the pad with him, just picking away, getting him to do all sorts, getting him to get on the phone, getting his family to transfer money or whatever, just so he can get a bit of canteen. And they're just non-stop. And then if this padmate or this said person doesn't stand up for himself, nip it in the bud, either by resorting to violence. That is the only way these bullies know how to stop, by resorting to violence, because these type of bullies are the ones that give it and they don't like taking it. So if you put it on these bullies, either by headbutting them, battering them or whatever, that is the only way sometimes that these see, or this violence is the answer. Because once you stand up to them, put it on them, they'll shit themselves, they'll not want it no more, and that is the only thing they understand. I remember when I first went into Cassington Young Offenders, first time in, I'm talking about these scenarios from experience as well, and there was a lad who'd been in about 10 times, knew the score. I was 20-year-old, went in, he was about a year younger than 19, but he'd been in and out since the age of 15, and you could just tell, he was one of these predator types that just looks for vulnerable people that he can take a lend of. So he tried it with me a few times, kept chipping away, kept saying little things. And this one time I stood up, went to go to the showers, he put his foot out, trying to trip us up, and nearly tripped over his foot. So I've just instantly turned round, shouted at him, get in the fucking showers now, let's have it. As soon as I started screaming at him, put my fist up saying get in the showers, even trying to drag him in the showers, just started squealing like a little bitch, didn't want nothing to do with it. I'm sorry, I was joking. Obviously get no more beef after that, but that is what these type of fucking predators do. That's what I'm going to label them as, in prison predators, because they prey on the weak and the vulnerable. But then when you get someone like I've just mentioned there, like myself, that turns around, defends himself, puts it on them, telling them to get in the showers, then they shit themselves, they don't want nothing to do with it. But if you don't react to it and you just let it keep going on, then you can imagine what happens. Now there is cases as well, I will speak about taking this a little bit further. Now this happens a lot with padmates, and a lot of people, some people that'll be watching this who's been in jail say that doesn't happen. It does happen. It's just you've probably never seen it. There's cases inside. There was even one where a lad got, how can I say this without getting flagged up on YouTube? He SA'd him when he was full of the spice. This has happened inside the jail. He was full of spice, and I'm not sure if the other lad was as well, but he's actually grabbed him from behind and done something to him. So this is the other cases as well. If you don't stick up for yourself, these predators, more so it'll happen, this will happen on the VP, the bacon wings a lot. The screws, obviously, that work in there do tell the lads on normal location what actually goes on these type of wings. But on the bacon wings, for those of you new to the channel, of bacon bonds equals rhymes with, begins with N, which is a pedo. So these type of prisoners on the VPs, the class as vulnerable prisoners, it will be happening all the time on their wings. But it does happen on the main location as well. And more so, like I've just said, it'll happen inside of pads where no one else knows about it, because the prisoner who it's happening to will not want to tell anybody. But these bullies that keep pushing and pushing, you can imagine if they're not resisting, these people who become prey, become the victim of the bullies. If they're not resisting, you can just imagine what else happens in the middle of the night when they're banged in there together. Banged up in that pad, can't get out. He knows the other pad mate's not going to say anything, he's not going to squeal. What do you think is going to happen inside of that pad? These situations do happen. So those are the two main ones, narcotics and bullying. If you don't nip that in the bud, you will become a victim of prison. So the other one as well, which I'm going to talk about, cases or something that prisoners shouldn't do on their first time in prison, is obviously holding stuff for other prisoners. This comes under what I've just mentioned as well in the first two things. But you can imagine inside a jail there's all sorts, and some of these prisoners don't like holding stuff themselves because they don't want to get caught with it. So they'll look for people as well, like I've just mentioned in the previous scenario, who will not say no, or they don't know how to. They've never been in prison before. Someone says something, especially someone the size of myself, comes up to someone who's a little bit smaller and asks them something or asks them a favour. They're not going to say no, they'll just say alright. Even though they'll not want to do it, they'll just say alright, I'll do it. So if they get asked to hold whatever, could be phones, narcotics, whatever, and they just go along with it, then that, I've seen this happen inside of Franklin as well. The lad was too scared to say no, and he just went along with it. A couple of the lads said, can you keep this blower for us? And he said, right, no bother. So they had it stashed in his pad. His pad got raided. They found the phone. They actually billed him for the phone. Because it was his pad that got raided. He was just getting a little bit of fucking something to keep him sweet, to keep a hold of this stuff. The pad got raided and he got billed £1,000 for the phone. Now I'm talking way back, over 15 years ago, £1,000 back then. I do know in the high security prisons now, especially some of the ones that are a lot harder to get things inside, phones are going for anywhere between 2 and 3 grand. So you imagine someone getting asked to keep a hold of one of these. They don't know how to say no, they'll just say, right, gives it here, I'll hold it for you. Your pad gets raided off the screws, you're responsible for that phone, then you've got to pay for it, believe it or not. Even though you didn't want to do it, they'll just say, well, you didn't say no. You said you'll hold it. So then you're responsible for that phone. You've got to pay the 3 grand. Even though you've got nothing, you're holding it because you've gotten out. Because anyone who did have anything or was somebody would just say straight away, blatantly straight away, there's no way I'm holding that. Not a chance. Keep it yourself. I'm not holding your phone for you. That's what you do inside a prison. So I'm just giving these scenarios, obviously, like I've just said, for people who have never been before. You just turn around and say, not a chance. Take a slap if you have to. It's better than having to fork out for that. Because believe it or not, if you can't pay for that, then you will be done in severely. You could end up with a Mars bar on your face. Then you'll get sent packing and you'll be running down onto the VP wings. because that's what happens with a lot of the lads inside, especially the ones who get debted up. So I'll talk about that as well, getting debted up. Obviously I mentioned it in the first one, but since I'm talking about lads running off the wings, I've seen this happen dozens of times inside the jail. They get debted up, they can't pay it, they've used or they've exhausted all the means on the outside to get things sent or to get money from family. Family's had enough on the outside, said not a chance, you're not getting any more money. So they've got no means of paying it. They'll go and put themselves on protection and live with the bacons. Imagine that. Going living years on end with the bacons because you're getting debted up and you couldn't do your jail properly. Because that's what people are classed have inside, who've got to get off their heads throughout the sentence. Cannot handle the jail, so they've got to get off the nut. The proper lads are the ones that get to the gym all the time, get on with the time, just get it done, get back out. Not getting wasted every day on that spizzle shite, bent over just fucking out of your mind, getting things done to you whilst you're out of your head. You've got to be on your guard inside a prison constantly, just in case the next man wants to take liberties or whatever. So imagine you're comatose off the space like that, because that's what they like of it, buckled over on the bed or on the floor or whatever, can't move, making yourself so vulnerable that anything can happen to you. That is the biggest mistake ever. Taking that and not being able to defend yourself inside a prison, because that comes under all the categories that I've just mentioned. But there will be people watching this saying where your biggest mistake is ending up in jail. So I will talk a little bit about that as well, because there is people, or should I refer to them as, could say muppets, but I will say, oh, actually I'll not. I'll just refer to them as ignorant. There's some ignorant people that turn around and say, well, you shouldn't have ended up in prison. God forbid you don't end up in a situation where you'll end up in prison. Any single person on this planet can end up in prison. Like I mentioned earlier on in the video, road traffic, something, you've took your mind off what you're supposed to be doing, or you pick your phone up as it's ringing. There might be an emergency call. You see the phone ringing and you think, shit, I need to answer this. A momentary lapse, and then bang, you've crashed your car, killed someone in front of you. Never went out that day with the intention of doing it, but you've ended up inside a prison, and that's how easy it is. So some of the ignorant people that say we don't go to prison in the first place, anyone can go to prison. People have been inside for a range of different things, but what happens if someone harms your family? What happens if something severely or something fatal happens to someone in your family or your kids? Something, God forbid, something happens to your kids. Something like what the likes of Ian Huntley or Roy White done. If that happened to your kids, could you honestly say you wouldn't do something to end up in prison? So I know for a certain fact, I cannot sit here and say I would never go back to prison. If anyone done anything to harm my kids, I wouldn't be responsible for my actions. If something, like I've just mentioned, the likes of that Roy White and what he done, that despicable cretin, Ian Huntley, the cretin, horrible pieces of imagine, well, you wouldn't want to imagine, but if something like that happened and you caught up with them before the coppers, could you tell me you wouldn't do something that would land you inside a prison? The majority of people watching this would definitely do that. So that's just for the ignorant people that say we don't go to prison in the first place. But that was just another little bit of freestyle, people, because I know you did it like that one the other day. Yeah, because everyone had a quick flick. I couldn't reply to each and every one of you because the comments, now I get hundreds of comments daily across all my videos, so I can't reply to each and every one. But I do have a quick flick through them or see how many is there. And I can see that you're all liking this type of content. And if you are still watching up to this point, I forgot to mention where I'm sitting now. It does actually look a little bit like, or it resembles, these walls is the same colour as the prisons. Both of them. It's the same colour as a prison cell. I am actually in a luxury hotel room at the minute, but this is just a chilled out corner piece in the hotel room, which does actually look or resembles a prison cell. So just in case you were wondering. But I will leave that one there for now, people, but do let us know if there is any more videos like this that you want to watch, and I will get it done for you. Like I say, thanks for your support and keep watching the channel. There's plenty more to come, and if you are enjoying it, remember people, there's no edits in this one, remember. If you are enjoying it, remember to comment, like and subscribe. Take care, everyone.